adherence to that.
schedule, and then.
And I can't do that.
United States flag.
Gary's up here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, state under God, one and indivisible.
Oh Lord, watch over us as we do the work of the county for the people of Hutchinson County. Watch over our first responders and our military doing the jobs that they do to keep us safe in these trying times. Bless us all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, does anyone have any questions on?
On page 10, let's see. There's a charge here for Robin Stroud. It says I guess the conference you went to was canceled, but there's still a $200 charge. I was just wondering, are they going to?
Could have been, I'm guessing that it could have been that it went virtual and she still.
Oh, still.
Because Robin and I go to the same conference, and we didn't pay for it in October, and it was $200, and they did cancel it. Now it's virtual. It's going to be $125 for the virtual.
Oh, so it'll be less. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, it wasn't any big deal, but I noticed that and it said cancel, so I was wondering.
Anybody else have anything? Have a motion?
Motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and second to pay the bills. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I have her stuff.
Oh. Did she have any payroll? No?
No payroll.
All right, 5, any additions or corrections to our previous commissioners court meeting?
I know that no corrections. That was the January the 11th meeting.
Item 6, any public comment? No. Item 7, consider, discuss, approve any and all items during necessary or pertaining to the county jail. Monica, do you have anything?
I don't have any news or anything except for my count. It's 42. I have 36 males, 6 females, and I have 1 that's in Carson County also.
Why? Why are they in Carson County?
It is a conflict of interest.
Okay.
That I can discuss with you later.
I thought maybe it was a medical reason.
No, no, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And everything else is going good at the jail.
Yes, ma'am.
Good to hear. All right.
So is everything back open, like all the
Yes.
tanks? Okay.
Yes.
So we have 42.
Item 8, consider, discuss, approve any and all items necessary pertaining to the county courthouse. I did talk to James with Train, and he is going to work on a schedule to get us started on the structural work that needs to be done. I haven't heard back from him. He was gonna talk to Carl with Open Range, get a schedule together, and then get with me on that. So hopefully we will be starting on that soon. If that comes. And I don't have anything else on the courthouse. You, anybody?
No.
All right, item 9, consider and or approve the cell phone allowance for the Hutchinson County Sheriff. Is it $50 a month? Standard.
So moved. Jared, do you hear that? I'll make a motion with
Okay, so Chris made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Great.
Does it say when it becomes effective?
Yes, she told me that, effective January 1.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll get this back to Kathy.
Well, I'll have to sign that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. All right, item 10 is to consider and or approve moving $7,500 from the equipment line item to the K-9 line item in order to purchase a new drug dog. Sheriff, did you want to talk about that?
ma'am.
Yes, absolutely. There's a chair over there. Can pull a chair up.
Here. See you, Irwin?
Okay, so I've met with everybody. I think everyone had a chance to probably go over it and kind of discuss a little bit of what we wanted to do here. We really got a good deal on a K9. My old chief deputy over here has a good working relationship with a K9 company. And mentioned this to me. We already have a K9 budget still. $4,205 is still in the K9 budget. My equipment budget is $44,108, and all of our large purchases have already foreseen come out of it. We got a good deal on this K9. I don't know if you want to go over the packet or not. The packet that I've given you guys has the information on the breed, all the way down to the x-rays, so you can tell how healthy the dog itself is. What I'm wanting to do is just move $7,500 from my equipment budget to the K9 expenses to purchase this K9. We already have enough for food and everything else. We still have a cage in our patrol unit for that. We still have K9 equipment, and I've already have a deputy that could be able to handle that. This K9 is generally more expensive. They've been offered $12,000 for it. I've worked out a deal with this company for $7,500. Now, if we obtain this, Gray County Sheriff's Office have offered to do the handler training and the finish the narcotics training completely free to us and certification.
So in the years to come next year, how much do you kind of foresee the K9 budget would reflect? I know
It's going to be, I would assume, what we just go with the baseline, about $5,000 for food and everything else had it has been the last year or two.
So what's the goal or the purpose? Last month I wrote a resolution giving away a dual purpose dog that was funded primarily by donations in the Canton community.
Yes, sir.
So what's the purpose of getting a single purpose dog when we had a dual purpose dog on staff?
Well, this is not going to be for tracking or a bite dog for bite work. It's just going to be for narcotics detection. I've spoken with one of the schools here that have been paying for contract services each month for a K9 to come in and do detection, and we're offering that to them for free. They wanted to pay for that anymore as well.
So how does that work with Polly being a deputy? Is that dog going to be with him and just not used until?
No, sir. It'll actually it'll be utilized proactively through traffic stops, and he'll be on call, and it will be certified in marijuana as well.
That was my next question. So if and when marijuana becomes legal and that dog becomes obsolete, what are your plans for?
That's a good question. For Chief Deputy over there, he's a canine handler.
I can address that real quick. I mean, the issue with marijuana becoming legal is simply, California, Colorado, several states have already done that. But the fact that marijuana is considered legal, it's still not legal to a certain extent. You're allowed to possess a small amount. However, the larger amounts are still going to be illegal. That's why they're still allowed to utilize dogs that are trained in marijuana.
So if a dog hits on a legal possessor in Texas right now, and then you find the meth pipe, how can you prove that it hit on the meth pipe and not the legal marijuana that they had?
There's not a legal amount of marijuana in Texas.
There is. There's exceptions for medical.
Yeah, a medical exception, yes, sir.
Right. That hit on the legal exception for marijuana.
They're required by law to claim that prior to consenting to a search or denying a search.
So if and when, like in Colorado in 2019, the state versus McKnight, Colorado has this situation.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's going to become an issue to all law enforcement.
Right.
I believe.
Right. I mean, Oklahoma just passed it too, like a year ago. So I mean, Texas is down the pipe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what's going to happen with these dogs? Are they?
Well, I mean, it's been the same issue in California for years with legal possessory amount of marijuana. However, their dogs are still trained to detect marijuana.
And they don't use them on traffic stops, but they use them for big trafficking and big busts most of the time.
What do you mean there?
They're not allowed just to use them on normal, like in Colorado, they're not allowed to use them on normal traffic stops. It's big trafficking and big busts that they've already planned out. So they can prove that it's not the legal amount of marijuana, it's the bigger illegal amounts.
I would have to do some research on that because I don't understand what you would have a drug dog for if you can't use it on traffic stop.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
So-
Because it would be obsolete.
So you can use this dog for more than
Yeah,
just
once
marijuana.
once you build your reasonable suspicion on a traffic stop that an individual is transporting illegal narcotics, regardless of what type of narcotics or what amount of narcotics, that gives you reasonable suspicion enough to run your dog at that point, which would, if it alerted on the vehicle, provide probable cause to search that vehicle. And that's on any stop, regardless if it's down the street or on the highway or on the interstate.
So if marijuana becomes legal, you can still utilize this dog.
Of course.
Okay.
Not true.
Is,
I don't
is
think
it
that
only
that's-
trained to hit on marijuana?
No, ma'am, it'll be trained for the main hard drugs, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, THC substances.
And you can
whatever
use it
else
for
we're
any of
trained on.
these.
Of course, yes, sir.
I disagree with that though. You guys, if you look up the state versus McKnight in Colorado, they had to throw out that case because they couldn't prove. You can't prove if it hit on something that's legal now or something that's illegal. And so the case got thrown out. And that's why they've set the standards through the Supreme Court.
That would have been the case with any dog that we.
No, our previous one, that's what I asked over previously. It was not trained on marijuana.
Oh, okay.
The issue
They
we had
started
with the,
to train them without marijuana because of that problem.
Right.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Issue.
An issue that we had with the previous dog is it was alerting on every vehicle, including those that had marijuana in it. And so that did provide an issue, as in credibility in court. So
This dog is a long-term asset to the county.
yes, sir.
I mean, it's not just for,
I
if
mean,
marijuana goes legal, then so what? We
It'll
still
still
use
be
the dog.
used for all the hard narcotics and
Right.
other stuff, especially in the school.
given the age of the dog, although it looks very healthy, what is the lifespan of a drug dog per se, especially this one?
A single purpose dog, yeah, as long as they stay healthy throughout their life. My first dog was a dual purpose dog, and I worked him until he was 12 years old. However, my last dog was a dual purpose dog, and he ended up getting cancer, and he only worked till he was 5. I mean, a general rule would be 9 to 10 years. But I mean, there are obviously an unexpected health issue, but things happen as far as that. But, I mean, I believe there's a 1-year health guarantee with this dog to have it evaluated by your vet and everything, correct?
Yes, sir.
1-year workability guarantee.
Is just the school that you talked about open for that? Do other schools have? dogs
Yeah,
that
I still
come
need to
in?
meet with Fritch. Fritch, I believe one of the constables spoke to them, and they want to meet with me as well. And then Border should have no issue with it either.
Will this dog also pick up on like fireworks and firearms and things like that?
Not unless it's trained to do that.
Okay. When I was in school, I got my car was hit because I had black cats in my truck. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that publicly.
You just did.
We didn't know you were a felon.
Jan, I'd like to strike that from the record.
You don't know if you just said it.
Well, it's hard for me to believe that if they do make marijuana legal, so what? I mean, they go in there, they find other drugs. If they find marijuana, okay, you're legal to have that amount, no big deal.
But if you
I don't
find
know
other
why
drugs,
that
you
would
find other
ruin the
drugs.
case.
Because if you hit on something, you can't prove if you hit on something legal or illegal, and if it's legal, it's an illegal search.
Well,
That's
so
the whole Supreme Court case in Colorado, and that's what they're.
I know, but I don't understand. If you went in there without a dog and you found a pipe and you found some marijuana that was legal, you're doing it, not the dog.
Well, not based on scent, though. You're doing a probable cause based on other issues.
Yeah.
That dog is only scent, and you can't differentiate the scents.
Mm.
That's what I asked Coker the very first time. I didn't want a dog that had the marijuana training because they're running into that issue,
Yeah.
making those dogs obsolete.
Well, I'm sure that's the case, but it's just hard for me to understand why it's that big of a deal.
I don't have some research.
Yeah, well, we're not attorneys, but this seems like a legitimate thing to me. So it can be an asset.
Craig on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, are you doing the training?
The dog is already partially trained. I'm just going to assist in finishing up the training.
The hand-dog training.
certification.
Correct. Okay. Are you certified for canine training?
Yes, sir.
Through what?
Through several different organizations. I've been considered an expert in court, through our district court, testified in federal court. I've been through several different organizations in their canine handling training program.
You're certified though?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for the sheriff? Discussion?
I'm all for a dog, but my hesitation is the marijuana. And that's going to be more of an issue.
I think the purpose of what we do is just kind of see if we have the funds to help that, and then we can advise you to look into that. But really, I think we're either get this dog, whether certified or not, with marijuana detection, and we trust you know what you're doing. So if we have the funds, we can allot it. And I believe we do have the funds, and I think it is good to have the dog.
Is there any issue with moving some of that money?
No, we can move it. With the court's approval.
So, Chris, you think that there's going to be liability as far as
Yeah, all the states that have made marijuana legal are running into that. That's why the dogs are starting to drop off the marijuana.
But no, I'm talking about liability
Yeah.
and lawsuits
Yeah,
for the
illegal
county.
searches and seizures, yeah.
So what is the option then? Just not consider a dog?
Well, I don't know that there's liability to the county financially. I think it's probably more, would you agree, Chris, that cases will get thrown out of court?
Right. Just lots
can-
of resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not to the county as
No,
far as
not
getting sued.
financially to
Well,
the
that's
county.
what I'm
Unless
asking.
The dog attacks somebody.
I mean, it's still not legal here.
But it's not
Yeah.
trained to be an aggressive dog.
No, ma'am.
So,
For me, it just rolls back down to money. If we have it, and because it's going to be a dog, either the dog's trained for marijuana detection or not, and we can advise not individually. We can advise not to do that, but really, protocols and procedures is your baby, and we just look to see if there's money in the something we want to endorse. And I think if it's not this dog, it'll be. I think dogs are beneficial into the into what law enforcement does. I think it's very good. Plus, it's I don't know. I approve animals being used in that capacity.
Well, and it'll be good for the schools, I think. You know, it's easier to run a dog through there than it is to search every locker.
So is that a motion, Dwight?
I will move that we move $7,500 from the equipment budget into the canine line item to purchase said dog.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Clay, our museum year 2020 review.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You want me to pass those?
Yes, ma'am.
I will.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I was trying to pull it apart.
Well, you might have guessed this has been a weird year. It's been for everybody else. Each one of these line items in the front part of the book told you where the photos are. But we celebrated our Black History Month at Schofield Center in February last year. Big success. And then in March, we had the Cowboy Country Music event, and we shouldn't have had that. And you were there. I was too. We didn't know. I don't think we had any.
I don't think we were a super spread.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody had it at that point. Our quilt show was due scheduled until October, and we had that. It was very successful. Not quite as big as usual, but yeah, you can follow along in the photos if you want to. We had a big deal. You'll notice on the cover and the photographs in the back on page 13, the Boomtown painting for the museum. That's gotten an amazing amount of coverage, press-wise, people talking about it, so on and so forth, and it was free, except for Dwayne and his crew's contribution to actually building the mount for it. London Jet and Michelle DeViscus came to me and asked me if we wanted it, and Michelle proved herself as a good painter. And we got Woody's Glass donated their shop to be the painting place, and Michelle was able to work inside January, February, and we got it put in later. And Dwayne and his crew built the steel surface. Friends of the museum paid for it, and Dwayne and his crew. Dwayne was able to arrange for a crane to come and set the thing that you'll see on the front cover. And there he is, hard at work. We can't do without that guy. So I think that's going to be a good thing for the museum, and it has been so far.
They did a good job on
They
that.
did a beautiful job. They did a beautiful job. I'm real proud of it. We got another exhibit added in the Warpatch Place. Before Commissioner Alexander was commissioner, he was just Gary. He got all this stuff together. You'll notice on page 14, he got all this equipment together and then supervised the placement and construction with Dwayne's crew in the Warpatch Place. And the scraper, the Uber scraper came from, Roy Gurley was an attorney, and his father-in-law, Mr. Blackman, invented this. It changed oil production in this county greatly. It was the only one that like it. Scrapes the paraffin out of the inside of the pipe. So anyway, Commissioner Alexander put the whole thing together, and I've got a picture of it back there for you to look at. I'm trying to constantly build new exhibits and update exhibits as things come along. That's a subtle thing. If you're not terribly in touch with the history, many of the things that we add are not really consequential, but I want to add as much information as we can. And as I've said before, I've tried to design these exhibits for three different groups. People that like to look at things, people that like to read a little, and people that like to read a lot. And so on the Red River War exhibit, we updated that, repainted it, all new graphics, eliminated
eliminated a few things and added a few things. I think it's pretty successful. Billy Dixon got additional graphics this year because 2 new illustrations came into my hands from, it was an attorney in Lubbock, I forget his name, but he was able to provide me with both these illustrations, and I think they add something to it. Roaring Twenties exhibit in the North Gallery, on the west side of the North Gallery, tried to put things in context about how primitive Boulder was in the 1920s and how many great things were going on all over the world. So I built a poster that tells you about all those wonderful things and what life was like, and then contrasted that with what life was like here. It was like we were still in the Wild West and the rest of the world was going on. So I'm pretty happy with that one too. Have some new poster exhibits got some photos from a friend of mine's father. Frank Biggers ran Southwestern Public Service, and he was a photographer. And he did the photographs of beautiful downtown Wolford when the aluminum dome was constructed, and also when Wolford All-America City was put together. So all that stuff is, all those 3 posters are hanging in the museum there. Because, when we were closed from March until May, whatever it was, June, seemed like forever, we didn't have a whole lot to do, so we did things that we didn't get to do any other time. When I came to the museum, the tunnels between the buildings, it's a utility tunnel on the 2nd floor. One goes east, one goes west. They were full, stacked to the ceiling with junk. Much of the stuff that was in there was not usable. It wasn't significant historically. Those pieces that were saved and put in the red building. You'll notice that there are photographs on page 19 of I didn't get it before and after. I should have. I was enthusiastic about doing it. So now those are clear all the way through. You can walk from one end to the other. Russell and Stephen can get in there to work on the technology because that's where our Wi-Fi hubs are, and it's a whole lot better. It's clean now. Rick Say, you guys let me hire him. Well, let me go back up to the chairs. We had to borrow some chairs from an event at the museum. Chairs have always been a problem, always. We went to folding chairs years ago after I got here, and now all of them are contained in one little, I guess it's about 3 by 7 in the back, as opposed to being stacked to the rafters like they were years ago. So it's a whole lot better. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's a big deal. Moving those out, in particular with old people, is kind of hard. So it's not hard anymore. We worked on the artifact spaces in the museum continually. Rick is working on one after another. A little further back in the book, you're going to find that we got a new roof, and I'm sure everybody here knows about that. It leaked, and when it did leak, it ruined one of the our gunroom ceiling. It didn't damage any artifacts to speak of. We lost a couple of things, but they weren't significant. But we took everything out of that room, stored it in other places, and we're still in the process of going back in, archiving every last piece, where it goes on every shelf, so I know where everything is, and the next director will know as well. So I'm pretty happy about that too. But come by and I'll show you anytime. We're still working on the red building. Got a PO from Mark to coat the backside of the building with stucco and seal it up. Went back there just to check on things one day, and the window on the left side by the utilities there, it had been plastered over and it just fell out. All the plaster fell out and it was open. Of course, it had bars inside, which I found was kind of interesting. But we stuccoed over all of that. It's a lot better than it used to be, and I don't think it'd be a word for anybody for tomorrow. It looks better. It really does. We cleaned up that yard space behind it a little bit, hauled off a bunch of stuff, and it's a lot better than it was. Let's see. The problems with the roof, I'm not completely sure. We still have some issues with the city. The city of Boulder, there was a water leak in the alley that I reported. They came and fixed the water leak and shipped the water pipe that goes into the building. And when I came to the museum one Tuesday morning, I guess, There was water all the way to the front door from the back alley and the south gallery. And that water pipe had been dislodged when they worked on the water leak to repair it to it's a concrete cylinder that holds all the meter. And they jarred that, and we have a leak. The level change from the front of the museum to the back of the museum is about 3.5 feet, and there's a break in that wall. So when that water came in, it came in. I mean, it was a flood. And we fought it, and I'm sure that Gary Spradlin was tired of hearing from me for a couple of weeks. They have a temporary patch on it right now, and I think it's going to work fine. I've kept my boss updated. I'm sure he's been updating you guys. Chris and I've worked on it a lot together. So anyway, I think it's a lot better. We have another new administrator at the museum. Guys, I messed up. I made a bad hire. I really did. She looked good on paper. She wasn't good in practice. And I was very pleased to see her leave. Against some advice that I had, updated and raised Dee Reese, who was our previous registrar, to the administrator position, and she's risen to the cause. She's had some issues. She's never had a job like this. This is a deal change for her, and I'm real pleased with what I'm seeing. It'll be telling when we have an event and have 15 balls in the air at one time that we have to manage. I don't know if she can manage it or not, but I can step in and help her, and I think she's going to be fine. I think she's going to be just fine. We were able to hire a new Rosa Van Gale to go in her position, in Dee Dee's position. Rose is a teacher. She's bilingual. She's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I'm very happy with her. Best registrar we've had since I've been director of the museum. And I'm just very pleased that she's able to do what she does. She's a big asset. As I said, this is not the first bad hire that I've done. I did one right after I got here, and I'm still paying for it. We're also, Judy Flanders is indispensable to the operation of this museum as president of Friends. And she was able to connect me with a woman named Ariel Boone, who once worked here. She is the Facebook and website manager for Frank Phillips, and she's going to redo our website. She's done it, and I've got to get with Russell probably tomorrow in order to get her to drop the new website on the server. But I've seen her work. It's good stuff. We haven't had a website manager. It's not something I know how to do. And Friends are going to pay for that, so the museum doesn't have to. It doesn't have to come out of our money. And I'm going to work directly with Ariel to keep it updated on everything that's going on. Interestingly enough, she lives in Colorado. She lived here for a while. She worked with Judd out at Frank Phillips, and she's still doing their work. And she'll be in town every 3 weeks to we need up close and personal together. And I think she's going to be wonderful. Got a call not too long ago from Alan Jones, and he told me that there was an oil spill out on the Dial lease. Interestingly enough, when they sold that lease years ago, they separated the land rights and the mineral rights, surface rights and mineral rights. Alan owns the ranch. It was the Dial lease. Now it's the Cracklin J. That's where oil was discovered in this county, but there's also some amazing Antelope Creek artifacts out there. Buildings, you walk that land and there's stuff everywhere. There's one little creek there where they literally stuck a pole in one side of the creek, a pole in the other, and draped a piece of plastic pipe across the creek. And that's how oil gets from one of the wells to the tank bed. Well, guess what? When you turn the well off, it freezes. The oil freezes, breaks the pipe, flooded the creek, and there are pictures in there on 23 through 26. That's a significant place. I had a contact with the Texas Historical Commission through West Texas A&M, or West Texas Panhandle Plains Historical Museum, West Texas A&M, and they were able to put me with the Texas Historical Commission. Historical Commission hooked me up with a guy named Andy Burcham, who used to live in Porter, now lives in Amarillo. ease their boots on the ground, because they're out of money too. They don't have any. So Andy and Charlie Kerr and I went out and spent a day on the dial, documented everything on those pages that you see. And we're able to connect Alan with the Texas Historical Commission to get something done and not destroy the artifacts and the ruins on the ranch. So that's still in progress. I'm real pleased with that. My grandfather cut that lease and I lived on it when I was a kid. For 40 years, my grandfather was there. And I'm real close to it. As I said, it's a significant archaeological site. And it looks like Alan was very amenable to letting the Texas Historical Commission kind of take over, the artifacts and the ruins. I don't know where it is in the process. If the wheels turn slowly in Hutchinson County, they turn about half that speed at the Texas Historical Commission. So as I discover more, I'll let you know. I'll keep the board updated, Chris. And, but I'm happy that we were able to do that.
Was the Railroad Commission advised of
I don't
this?
think the Railroad Commission entered into it because it's private land,
Doesn't matter.
I didn't
doesn't
hear a
matter.
thing-
Doesn't matter.
Well, I didn't hear a thing from Alan,
No, if it doesn't
It's
matter.
Alan's land.
Yes, it is Alan's land.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
The Railroad Commission is over all the oil and gas production of the state of Texas.
They might be able to get that flow line
They're the ones
changed.
you should have gotten hold of.
Well, Texas Historical Commission, I was more concerned about the artifacts and the ruins than I was about the oil.
Yeah.
Alan, because he doesn't have surface rights, the independent producer that produces that land doesn't have to answer to him. And he was backing up his backhoe into that creek, and there are all kinds of historical artifacts, bedrock mortars and such as that. And he was going to take a backhoe out there to clean up the oil. No, you're not doing that. So we were able to stop that. We have the Historical Commission working on it now, and I feel reasonably sure the Railroad Commission would be involved because they know what to do.
Well, they make you put, it's not chemical, but
Yeah.
it's powder stuff, and you put it
Yes.
on the oil and it helps get rid of it. And that'd probably be the best thing, unless the water's running.
Well, truth of the matter is, I
But-
probably should have hollered at you, being an oil man, you'd know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Get the Historical Commission involved. They've got some clout, they really do. They can stop things legally. You can't
Well,
stop
the
anything.
Railroad Commission can take your
Yeah.
deep title away
Yeah,
from
I know.
you, and you don't do anything without
Exactly.
that. So,
But,
yeah, I mean, there's different ways it could have been. I don't know.
well,
Should have
I
been
didn't know
involved.
Alan at all, and after talking to
But
him-
see, if you sell land, you can buy the surface, but they don't have to sell you the mineral rights, and
True.
that's where it
That's
is.
exactly what
He
happened.
doesn't
Yeah.
have the mineral rights.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get any say on anything. He just gets royalties from it.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just to
So
clear that
I
up.
think I think we were successful in stopping him from getting in there with his backhoe and destroying things. And because the Historical Commission's involved now, I'm kind of out of it, but I helped Ramrod that through Panhandle Plains and with the Historical Commission. And a guy named Arlo McKee is my contact with the Historical Commission. And it didn't hurt anything for me to have that contact either.
Is that a registered site?
It's not a registered site. And interestingly enough, when I talked to Arlo the first time, he said, well, we know it's there, but we don't know what's there. So when you go out there, take pictures of everything. Well, I did. We spent 12 hours out there one day. And a lot of those photographs are the ones that you see in the book here. There's a whole lot more out there than I even knew about that we discovered that day, that I came across that day. These photos right here on page 26, I didn't know that existed. There were 6 or 7 roundhouses in a row on an exact north and south axis that I never knew existed because I never saw it. But it expanded, this whole thing expanded my knowledge. And I feel real good about the county being involved in it because I think it's important to preserve this stuff. It's pretty well known. It was well studied by Studer in the 30s. He did all the work out in Elevates and the Elevates ruins and all that stuff. He knew about this, he had documented it, and interestingly enough, on the maps, he didn't put the locations accurately, so people wouldn't go out there and dig in them. Interestingly enough, before it was politically incorrect to dig in these ruins, I dug in them myself as a child out there with my granddad. But that was a big deal to go out and look for airheads and anything else you could lay your hands on. It's a significant site, and it still is to my in my estimation. So I'm very happy to have something to do with this. I'm glad I got called in. But all things considered, I think we had a pretty productive year in spite of being closed all that time. And willing to answer any questions. Glad to meet you.
Nice meeting you as well.
Nice meeting you.
Glad to meet you, Mr. Bentley. My first time with this court. So if y'all have any questions, please ask.
I understand that the programs that are coming up, like the History Month and food program, are all canceled.
That's all canceled.
Yeah.
And that's kind of up to Friends. I mean, we support that, but we can't do it.
That's unfortunate.
Whenever the time comes, we may reschedule.
They're still pursuing the order of celebration.
Yes, yes. March. But whether that happens, I have no idea. I know many of us have been vaccinated. I know you have. And I'm getting my second shot tomorrow. I'm kind of happy about that.
I am
But
too.
I don't know how many other people are going to be vaccinated or whether or not we can have this. And I'll discuss this with Chris and the court before we go forward. But I'm also relying on the Friends of the Museum and what they want to do. Most of them are older than I am, and they can't be there, and we can't do it without them. So I think it's been a pretty successful year. I know when I leave this place, it's going to be in a lot better shape than it was when I got it, and I'm proud of that. And I think I have a good staff right now that we will be able to go forward and make it a better place over the years.
Thank you, Clay. We appreciate you.
Questions? Good. Just the way we like it.
Despite things.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, Clay.
Thanks.
All right, item 12 is our update on COVID. Thanks, Clay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Total Washington County cases right now, 904 confirmed, it's up 12 since last Commissioner's Court, 200 probable, up 81 since last Commissioner's Court, total 1,304. Active cases right now, we're at 82, so that's down 30 cases since last Commissioner's Court. Recovered cases, 1,162, that's up 91. Fatalities of 60 fatalities reported right now due to COVID, and that's up 7 since last Commissioner's Court. This is some state statistical data showing on new cases and averaging out. You can actually see that we did have a pretty decent peak between November and January 1 as far as cases or confirmed cases, and that is starting to take a downtick as far as total cases within the state or new confirmed cases. So don't get it confused with what we're currently dealing with when you're looking at new cases. So this is specifically on the new case side. So 9,731 new cases. So this is statewide statistical information, 12,899 COVID patients in Texas hospitals. Like I said, you see the kind of the breakdown available ICU beds through the state, 721 available ventilators. We're still doing good on ventilators. This is the state positivity rate, 15.35%. So through the state, if out of all the tests that they're doing, 15% of those people that they're doing tests on are testing positive, so 15.35%. We're still a little higher than that in Hutchinson County. We're still at about a 21% rate in Hutchinson County. This is for our trauma service area. So right now we're showing as far as COVID patients in hospitals, 192, ICU beds available, 22. So it keeps coming up a little bit on the ICU availability, so that's good. It means that transfers can open up more. We can get patients shuffle around to better ICU capable facilities. So I put these two graphics in here just to show you the difference between last meeting and today. So as far as this is BSA Northwest Texas. As far as COVID cases, the hospitalization rate for those two hospitals, 6.45%, down to 4.52%. So out of the total positive cases that we've had, or that BSA of Northwest has had, 4.52% of those people have to be hospitalized. Total bed utilization 80.5%, so it's down from 89 and almost 90% last time, so that's good. I like giving you all some good information because it makes you feel a little better. But ICU utilization 89.5 to 85, it's down. It's still way higher than we want. We want to get that number way down there to keep that availability, but it's coming down, which is good. Ventilator use 38 to 46%. That's not specific to the COVID number on that. So that could be COVID, that could not. It's just 46% of the available ventilators are being used in those two hospitals. So last meeting we were at 22.36% as far as the trauma service area A. And like I said, this is the number on that governor's executive order GA 29, where we can actually increase our occupancy rates and actually open up additional public areas like bars and other things like that. So right now we're at 17.44%, so that's good. That number keeps coming down. Hopefully with more vaccinations and people being staying vigilant as far as masks and all that, we can hopefully get this number down some more. Currently in Golden Plains Hospital, we're at 33% COVID capacity. Okay, so I wanted to dive off a little into the weeds on the vaccine stuff. So I've had a couple of questions as far as vaccines and how Hutchinson County is doing on the vaccine front. I would like to say that we've had every opportunity. We have all the vaccine in the world to come into Hutchinson County. We can just get it out, as easy as possible. But that's not the case. As far as Hutchinson County, we've been allotted 500 doses in Hutchinson County. And one thing that I'm proud of is in that 500 doses, not a day or 2 days have went by since we got the vaccine, and we pushed that vaccine out. I mean, it was quick. We had received 200 doses a month ago, and within 2 days, we had those 200 doses pushed out. The next week, we'd received another 100 doses. In 2 days, that 100 doses was pushed out. And then we went another 3 or 4 weeks before we had actually received any other allocation. We were not even supposed to be on the application list. And it might have been the squeaky wheel got the grease, kind of thing. But we ended up getting 200 doses at Golden Plains Hospital. And I'm sure y'all seen on media and stuff like that, on Facebook, we were able to do a small, it tended to be kind of small with 200 doses, but vaccine clinic where there probably was more than 2,500, 3,000 people showed up for 200 doses. So that caused some issues in traffic control and stuff like that, which we're working on right now to hopefully make that process a little smoother, a little better next time for when we do get more allocation. But as far as Hutchinson County, haven't had a lot of allocation to the county. And there's nothing we can really do about allocation. This isn't something that because you have a ton of money in the bank, you can just ask for more. There's an allocation committee with the state, and they pick and choose, and the judge specifically asked them last week, what's the criteria you use for allocation for these counties? Is it because our fatality rate's higher? Can we get more allocation? But they specifically said, no, there's no statistical information that they're using to allocate. It's just, more like a lottery to them. It's just who's going to get what, and that's how they do it.
And I honestly think too, because everyone's got that hub, they push more to that, and
Right.
we've had a lot of people go over there.
So the state has broken up 2 different types of registration now. So there's independent registration, is what everybody in Hutchinson County, our pharmacies, our hospital, everything is independently registered as a provider. I'll show you a list on here who's actually providers in Hutchinson County. But the state has allowed people to register for hubs, these mega hubs, and Amarillo has registered for like a mega hub. So they're pushing all this vaccine to those mega hubs, but we're still the state of Texas is getting about 300,000 doses per week allocated. But whenever you have San Antonio and Dallas and Houston, all these, and they're registering as these mega hubs, they're having to push these huge amounts of vaccine to those hubs to keep those operational. And they're trying to get people from smaller communities to push to those hubs. But then we have the issue of, we have people here in Hutchinson County that have received numerous calls. Well, I can't get out and drive to Amarillo, and plus I'm not going to stand outside for 3 hours. That whole deal, which I completely understand. That's why we want to try to get more allocation here for those residents. But it's a state thing, and nothing we can do as far as monetary, throwing money at it. This isn't anything we can throw money at it. These vaccines are already bought and paid for by the federal government. We can't do anything as far as money wise to get more vaccine. So this will show you Hutchinson County registered residents that have received vaccinations, 1,042 Hutchinson County residents. So that shows you over 50% of our people in Hutchinson County have went elsewhere to get their vaccine. So we've only received 500 doses, so that shows you that statistic there. This right here, I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit to show you, like Hartley County, their doses allocated in Hartley County, 1,475. Moore County, 800. Potter County, 46,150. Hemphill County, 800. Gray County, 1,300. Hansford County, smaller than 600. All these counties have received more vaccination than Hutchinson County. Some of these locations have less people registered to receive vaccines. So why are we receiving less than some of these other counties? Don't know. We've asked that question numerous times.
We had at least 2 calls last week, of which we were definitely the squeaky wheel, and we don't really get any answers.
All we ever get back is, we know there's a problem in getting vaccine to rural communities, and we're working on it.
And we have a plan. We have a really good distribution plan. Jerry and Jason Whistler have laid out a plan that is excellent, and we've sent that to them and told them we have a plan for distribution, and we still don't get any allocation.
So mostly, and they were wanting to make sure that the amount of vaccine allocation that you get to the county, you can turn around and push it out as quickly as you're getting it. And our statistical data that we're giving them through ImmuTrack is showing that we're getting the vaccine and it doesn't stay in the freezer a day before it's, like I said, mostly the longest we've ever been was about 48 hours, as long as we've held vaccine. That's to make sure we get people in the 1A group done. So like I said, shouldn't be the reason why we're not getting more vaccine, but until we can get a clear answer on why that is, this is just kind of what we're having to do. This right here is our current Hutchinson County enrolled providers as far as vaccine. You can see this is a newer one on there, the Border Refinery. They're actually registering as a Group 2 distribution. So once we actually open up into general public, they're going to look at actually doing some providing out there at the facility. But that's in Group 2, so you're not going to see the Group 1, which we're still in right now. A couple of doctors' offices, Caprock Nursing, United Pharmacy, Golden Plains, High Plains Medical, Walmart, Border Pharmacy, Kate's Care. So those are all the registered providers in Hutchinson County. Our Group 1A today, we're starting to give out the second dose for the Group 1As. So we got, we've given out, as far as our Group 1A, we've given out about 360 total 1A doses. So we're going to be working this week to make sure we get those second doses out to those 1A people, and then, like I said, move on to the second 1B doses. That should be in another 2 to 3 weeks. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Jerry. Y'all have any questions for Jerry?
Nope. Thank you, Jerry.
But we're trying. All right, item 13, any action, Jerry, that we need to take at present?
No.
Oh, I forgot, I would like to say, I received a few phone calls about this, and I spoke with Jerry. And then the next, or 2 days later, the clinic was set up. And I would like to go on record that I had nothing to do with that. That was already in the process. And so even though I do take, I appreciate y'all calling, I have no responsibility to make that happen. That was already happening. So thank you, Jerry. I'll take a win, but I had nothing to do with it.
We're happy when we get anything. All right, item 14, consider and/or approve burn ban or rescind the burn ban.
Currently, our KBBI is at 375. Like Border came in as our winner at 15/10 of an inch. So we got a little bit of moisture, this last 24 hours. But we're at 375, so I still say no action right now. But, it's coming into our wildfire season, so I would expect things to start changing rapidly. We don't start to, get the moisture, in those periods. So right now,
Was there a fire yesterday, Mark?
we had one. Well, we had a structure fire in Border.
Yeah, but there was.
Oh yeah, we had the one at 687, or yeah, the Y up here, the Y north.
Oh. No problem though.
No, still in the board.
Okay, so no action on the burn ban then. Item 15, consider and or approve disposal of obsolete office equipment. Oh, yes, I do. From Dwayne, a printer, 3 monitors, and a keyboard need to be disposed of. Can I give it that to you? Okay.
Make a motion, we approve disposal of that.
Second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, 16, accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
I have several. So for Commissioner Alexander and Commissioner Bentley, they both have certificates for the Open Meetings Act and the Public Information Act. Dwight Kirksey, Commissioner Precinct 2, has the Open Meetings Act, Public Information Act, Cybersecurity, and Basic Economic Development. Then Robin Stroud and myself have a certificate for our required 20 hours of continuing education for 2020. And that's all I have.
Okay, 17, we're still not renting the library or the club room out at Fritch. So 18, consider and or approve line item changes, transfers, and or budget amendments.
Only the one that the sheriff talked about.
Okay.
So do we have to re-motion that one, or, okay, so it was already done, it just falls in there.
All right, item 19, consider and or approve advertising, opening, accepting, or awarding bids.
I've not received the specs on the owner's computer, so I can't go out for bids to sale. Russell's supposed to get that to me.
Okay.
And then the sheriff called last week and talked about getting some new vehicles, which I asked him to talk to the court before he did that. He didn't bring it up today, so I guess I'll bring it up in the future.
Yes, I think, he wasn't quite prepared.
Okay. And that's all.
Okay, great. All right, item 20, consider and or approve donations to Hutchinson County. Anybody know of anything? 21, accept reports from elected or appointed officials.
I have Robin Stroud's December 2020 report, and then Dwayne Chisholm's report, and then I have Kathy Sargent's report also.
Okay.
There's 2 pages.
I gave mine to Mark.
Okay. Did I get one then?
Okay.
And she did not tell me what the text pool rate is on this,
Okay.
so I don't know. So she has her treasurer's one, and it shows the balance on the final page, and then she also has her comp report through December 31st, and it shows that in total, $34,126.19 in her comp report.
22, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations. Does anybody have anything?
I went and toured the Fritz Library, and there's some things that Commissioner Herbst had started, and they haven't got to get finished yet. And that was going to be something I needed to visit with you guys about, because I didn't know exactly really what was. I don't know if there was a report or a game plan on some of the things that need to be finished at the museum. I mean, at the library. Is there a report or a?
Was there something in particular out there that?
There was the easement needs to be finished, and the painting of the club room, and clean up of windstream wiring, and I think that was about it that they could recall. The Miss Delina and Miss Robin were the ones that told me of some projects that had started, and I looked through our budget to kind of see really how that works, but I didn't see anything specifically earmarked, if you will.
Yeah, it's just in that. It'll be in that line item, I think, for the Fritz Club Room Library.
Okay.
It has their own line item.
And so I didn't know. And of course, I know everybody is fairly new. If there was something written, or do I just get bids and start going through that? Okay. I didn't want to do something that was already done. I didn't want
like if your next project, we'll say, is to paint that inside of that club room, which now would be a good time to do that since we're not renting it.
Right.
Then just get some bids.
Okay.
And I don't even remember who did the outside, but
Vanover.
Oh, Tommy did.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I didn't know if y'all had already done that process, and I didn't want to.
No, I don't think it's been awarded to me.
All right. That's
I'm
all.
aware
That was the only question I had.
As far as the annex goes, we talked about maybe using a bigger room for the elections committee. They'll have money in their account to cover that, to put in more plug-ins. I talked to Dwayne, and he said that they need to replace those windows with metal windows. It's too easy to break in there.
Right.
So, and then we'll also have to have a cement. He's got a temporary ramp that we can go from the outside of that building, have people come in through the hall and then exit out that door. And we'll have to have a ramp to go to the sidewalk. So he's got a temporary one.
That room down the hall is bigger.
It is bigger, and we were just cramped, and the ladies burned up because that
It's
heating
controlled
and
by the.
tax office, and so Dale told me that one has a thermostat and can be controlled independently, which would help because bless their heart, they were burning up. So
That's probably a good plan to come in and then exit through the door.
and we have looked at it, but it doesn't have enough electrical at all for us. And then there's a lot of stuff, and then the exit thing,
And you have enough money in your budget.
I think we since we got some money that came in, so I think we will have some money.
Okay.
But I told Gary we'd look at it and get a plan.
All right, that sounds like a better plan for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
When's our next election?
We have a constitutional in November.
In November.
So if we could start some of it and then ramp it up before
Yes.
the next election.
Good. Okay, I did get some information from Tamara also and she may probably talk to you too, Chris, that she's planning to continue. We had approved staying closed to the public through January, but after January, beginning February 1, she's going to be open to the public. So she's going to open the library back up, encourage mask wearing as much as she can. But she was not asking for the club rooms to be opened yet. So just gonna go back to public access at the libraries. Anything else that y'all can think of on that? I'll just share with y'all that if you're planning, I think this week y'all got your information about the West Texas Judges and Commissioners Conference. And if you're planning to go to that, because I'm on the board for that, you all do not have to reserve a room. I already have a room reserved for you. So once I get the confirmation on that, I will give it to you, and then you just have to call the hotel and switch it over to your name and your card. But if you're gonna go, you need to get registered. So the registration is up at this time. And it's a good conference. Okay, the next item is to consider and or approve the sale of struck off tax properties and tax deeds. We have 2 or 3. I think they're probably all Dwight's. The first property is located at Elk and Deer Drive in Sanford. And submitting an offer of $4,000 has been made by Brad Lukingbill and Clay Perry. Taxes haven't been paid since '89 to 2001. And it was struck off to the entities ranging from March 2000 to September 2011. And it was appraised at $600 per lot. How many lots are we talking here?
There's quite a few on that one.
Oh gosh, yeah, there are. There's like, yeah, if y'all can see this, those are all the lots.
Now they're small. They're well, I wouldn't say small, but they're not a normal, what I would call normal sized
But
lots.
he's saying $630 per lot.
Yes.
So that's a lot of lots.
Hmm.
Now his total proposal is only 4,000, if I'm correct on that. Not the 630 per lot.
And is it all just?
It's all there. I think I found some septic systems, so there is a little bit of infrastructure on a few of those properties, but not. I don't even know if they're up to par, or if that was just some 4-inch PVC dug in the ground. I didn't do
Where
that.
are they located?
They're in Bugby area.
Oh,
Bugby Heights is what
Yes.
it says. Yeah. Purchase amount, it says $8,000. Deposit amount, $4,000.
Yes. So I didn't really see. I was curious, and I asked the tax department here if I could contact them to see what they're doing, and the attorney said no, not advised. And so, which is a no-brainer. I should
Sometimes
have
they'll
thought that through.
submit a letter and say,
Yes.
This is what we plan to clean up because it's property adjacent to ours and we just want to clean.
Right.
But there's no.
Yeah, there isn't anything. I did tour the properties, didn't really see anything of significant value or anything that would increase the appraisal of the property. So I feel like it'd be a good. Tara did check for us when we all left to go to the conference, and there was a question about do they have to pay any kind of back taxes, and the answer is no. When it's struck off, it's struck off. Exactly.
from the point where it struck off,
Yes.
or ever. I mean, they don't pay anything.
They don't pay anything.
Okay.
All the way back, you don't pay any of the back
They don't pay
taxes.
any back taxes. Now, if they get it in March, and then we start taxing them in October, then they'll pay that whole year. But that's about it.
Unless you buy it from the person.
Unless you buy it from the person
Then you have to
directly.
pay it.
Oh,
Yes.
oh.
But there aren't any back taxes, so they just start afresh this year. But they'll have to pay the current
Where's
year
it at?
taxes.
Just all that property right there.
Yes.
Along the
Where's Deer Drive?
west side of the road.
Yes,
Hmm.
it's all on this side over. If
There's
Because here's the Elk and shit,
Elk.
right?
yeah, I'm trying to get my bearings actually.
But it said Deer Drive on there too, didn't it?
elk
and deer.
and deer.
And I looked and I didn't see any elk or deer.
It's up,
Just,
it's up over on the, it's that,
yes. Okay, here we are.
So,
Right. Yes.
Right in there.
It's both of those sides because there's other bids that we've already awarded that are over there. It's in that whole vicinity.
Hmm.
I wonder if it's this here.
It would be nice if they built something out there. Build a big old house. Possible.
But yes, I don't know the intent of the purchases. I just think it'll get back on the tax roll, and I think it'd be fun. Since it's been sitting there so long, even if they do leave it vacant and just we'll still get taxes on it. So
It's better than what it is now.
better than not getting anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with the upcoming year, every little bit will count.
So is that your motion? Was
Yes,
that your
I
motion?
move to approve the bid at $8,000 for all of those properties, those lots.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay.
So it's 8,000, not 4,000?
Submitting an offer of 4,000 has been made, but on this part right here, it says, I'm going to have to check the math on that, because it says purchase amount 8, deposit amount 4. So maybe they've already
doing
put
half.
down 4,000.
Oh, okay. But you'll check on that.
Yeah, I
too.
will.
Okay.
All right, the next property is 300 Elk Drive. Submitting an offer of $200 has been made by Danita Montez from Amarillo. Taxes haven't been paid since 2006. It was struck off in 2014 and appraised at $630.
And this individual's been purchasing also the other properties adjacent to that, which we approved last. This one? Yes.
I thought I recognized that name.
Yes. And again, as you can see in the picture, I didn't see anything. I believe this was the one I saw the PVC sticking out over.
There's some kind of pipe or something.
Yeah, in 20 or 2.
What's that, Gary?
That's confusing when you're looking at it.
Yeah.
I wish Google would take a picture of where I was standing.
No, that's a gas pipeline running through there, so that could be a vent for that pipeline maybe that you saw.
I thought when I smelt it, I felt dizzy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, and there's a canister
you're
there too, so
I made it.
Yeah.
yeah, you might want to get rid of that property if it's got a gas line running through it. I wouldn't want to build my house over it.
But yes, I did see some type of infrastructure. It may have just been a pipeline. I didn't detect any kind of water. I know it'd probably be a well system, but I didn't see any of that down there. So I motion to accept that bid, and I don't recall exactly. $200.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. And the last property is 213 Elk. Submitting an offer of $400 has been made by Charlotte Lookingbill. Struck off in 2006 and appraised at $830.
I so move to accept the bid as presented.
It's one lot or two?
It's just one.
Oh.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, anybody have anything else? Meeting adjourned.